Test 1 2. We're good. Okay, we're about ready to start our Breeding Guild show, but before we start, we have the honor of having Mr. Clint Taft up here, and he's going to go ahead and sing our national anthem before we get started. So if you would mind, please take your caps and hats off and stand to your feet. Thank you. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you, Mr. Taft. We are ready to go with our breeding show. We're going to go ahead. We're starting out with the Berkshire breed. We'll be shown by age classes, which have been divided. Our first class of Berks will be Faradates from July 2nd to July 12th. So go ahead and start bringing them on in. Our judge tonight will be Clayton Schramm. He's from Sealy, Texas. He went to Texas A&M University. He was on the judging team there in 2017. He not only judges show pigs, but he raises show pigs also. And he currently works for Full of Pep Feeds as a field rep. Let's give our judge a warm hand of appreciation. If you're an exhibitor waiting to come into the ring in future classes, make sure you have your registry papers with you. They will be checked at the gate as you enter the ring. Thank you.
Fly.
Well, good evening, and I'll start off by saying thank you for allowing me to come out today and get the opportunity to be able to sort through your breeding guilds and work with your young people. And I think we get it kicked off on a high note. A very high quality class of Berkshire guilds and the young ladies guild here to my right. That's going to end up being our class winner. To me, combines the most good out here amongst these four. Whether you want to talk about them from a skeletal standpoint or you want to talk about with rib and stoutness, she's the one that's putting those together at the highest level. As soon as she comes out that gate, her stoutness of skull, her power to her form and blade, and her body shape with her muscle, something that stuck out to me. And then as you ask her to continue to drive, because the angle of her blade, length of hip, and set to hind leg is still put together the way it's supposed to, she handles that with comfort. She handles that with functionality. I like her the most. You talk about the Gilt that's going to come in second. If you just want to make him the best looking and the best built, that might be your favorite. I wouldn't argue. Just in terms of elevation at the top of her blade, the length and of her hip and the utilization of her hind leg is very good and it's very comfortable. She's just a little bit more fragile in terms of her build. Coming and going, she's more closed up there to her base. She doesn't have that same width, stoutness, and muscle that our class winner does. Now, the one that's going to most closely resemble our class winner in terms of those things I just described, and you could say maybe even at a higher level, is the young man's Gilt there in third. That one is very, very opened up down low. Very good in the shape to its body and tremendous when you get right on top of them. I just get a little too hard on her back, too. You start to study her right there at the surface. She wants to get up on her pasterns. She wants to put too much weight there on the outside of her toe. From a structural standpoint, I get too hard on that. We ran out this class with a Gilt that's big in her kind. She's very extended. But for me, I want to see her deeper, softer in her body, and better there in the angle of her blade. Like I said, a very good way to get started. Put your hands together and congratulate each one of these exhibitors. Do I keep this? Do I keep this microphone?
Coming into the ring now will be our second class of Berkshire breeding gilts. These gilts were faired July 15th through July 22nd of this past year. Placings in our first class. First place goes to Isabella Hartman, Navarro FFA. Second place goes to Antoine Franklin of the Seguin FFA. Third place goes to Corey Dilling, Marion FFA. And fourth place belongs to Shanton Shadrock, Marion FFA. Congratulations. There will be 9 entries in this class. Also, just want to make a mention that the highest placing pig in the class that was purchased from the Seguin swine breeders will be getting a $100 bump check tonight. The members of the Seguin swine breeders are as follows: Riel Hog Farm, Kelso Genetics, Marshall Stry, Robert Hebner, Daggy Show Pigs, St. Hedwig Feeds, Phi Show Pigs, Alderson Farms, 4L Show Pigs, Schultz Show Pigs, MT Hart Livestock, BC Show Pigs, Bubba Eckhart, Beck Show Pigs, and James Langemar. Thank you to all these individuals for their gracious donations. Assisting us tonight with passing out of the ribbons, banners, are going to be our two ladies with the crowns on. I'm trying, couldn't think of the word. Morgan Carnes with Guadalupe County Fair, Duchess, and also, is it Rayleigh? Rayleigh Childs, Guadalupe County Miss Rodeo Princess. Thank you all ladies for your help.
Obviously a bigger class with more hogs to sort through. But even with that, I do think this class offers a little bit more of a challenge because I don't know if there's necessarily one that just jumps away right there from the start and kind of just takes it and runs away with it. But as I break down fundamentals and think about breeding animals in terms of functionality, in terms of volume, still giving you a maternal look, the broody gilt there shown by the young lady to my far right, the one that ends up being my class winner. I love that one's just internal dimension in terms of chest width, in terms of body shape and dimension of muscle when you study her up high and from behind. And then you watch her drive there from the profile. Her skeleton is very comfortable. It's very loose, and she reads with balance. I wish her skin and hair was maybe just a bit better to allow you to gravitate to her look and freshness from the side that much more. But I do think the basics and breaking them down fundamentally, to me, she reads just a bit better in those areas. Now, as far as unique pieces, the young lady's Gilt to come in second is one that hit me probably as hard coming out of the gate because of her extra stoutness of skull, her extra size to her form and blade, size to her rear leg. She is very, very fresh in terms of her appearance and her presentation. But as I watch the hogs and ask them to continue to drive, we got to push her blade back further on her body to allow her to reach, plant, and use her front skeleton with the same functionality that our class winner does. The gilt that comes in third, very functional, flexible gilt there from the side. She's deep and soft in terms of her body. She's one that I think we could just blend her ham loin just a bit better. I think coming and going, she could be supplied with just a bit more base width there from the ground up. Not the case for the young man's gilt that comes in next. Another stout, bold one that's very pushing a little extra condition, causing her to get a little bit more general in her shape up high. She's a little rounder and plainer there in her look from the side as well. And then we round out this particular group with another gilt that's very loose in terms of her build. I just want to stout her up in terms of her bone work, stout her up in terms of her skull. Watch her come and go. I want to see her just have more width and power from every angle that you study her.
Placings on our second class of Berkshire Gills. In ninth place is Mark Pardo, Marion FFA. Eighth place is Weston Warndell, Navarro FFA. Seventh place is Grant Barbie, Marion FFA. Sixth place is Cage Herforth, Clemens 4-H. Fifth place is Brant McCollis of Steel FFA. Fourth place is Noah Richter of Steel FFA. Third place is Jacob Cassidy of the Navarro FFA. Second place is Emma Smith, DuBrone 4-H. And our class winner is Justine Covarrubias of the Navarro FFA. Congratulations to all. Our Seguin Swine Breeders winner will be Cage Herforth. He will receive a $100 check from Seguin Swine Breeders, and the breeder was Real Hog Farms. In our ring now are the Berkshire Breeding Gills fared from August 1st to August 7th. We have 4 entered.
we have out here in front of us our last class of Berkshires, and I'm going to tell you the one that's going to end up being my class winner. I usually don't do this, but I'm going to start off negative so we can really emphasize the positives of this animal. The negative thing is probably for me more personal than anything, because I'll tell you, if you ask me what my kind of hogs are, I do like them stout. I like them powerful. I like them with width and a lot of muscle. But we are judging a breeding show today, and the Gilt that's out here driving, that's the most maternal in terms of her appearance. She's good in terms of her body, very good in terms of her structure and her look. This young lady right here to my right, she's going to end up being our class winner. Congratulations to her. Now you talk about the hog that's going to end up being in second. That one fixes some areas that I would like to fix my class winner. She is stouter in terms of her skull. She is more powerful in terms of her forearm, in terms of her blade. Her rear leg's just a bit bigger, but I don't think those advantages are big enough to overcome the places that I need to fix her. She gets a bit flatter in terms of her forerib and her center body. When you back off and watch her drive from a distance, she just gets too shallow. I want to make her deeper, softer, to allow her appearance to look more maternal as you ask the hogs to drive there from the profile. The hogs that are coming third has some width, has some muscle. She's another one that needs to be just deeper and softer in terms of her body. We can lay her blade back. We could blend the back side of her loin smoother into the front side of her hip. We ran out our last class with a Gilt that's got some feature, has some boldness to body, but she's obviously the lowest performing. And then you study her skeletally from the side. She's the straightest in her blade. I think she's just overall the tightest in terms of her movement. A good way to go ahead and end our Berkshires. Put your hands together for each one of these exhibitors. We'll get our class winners back out here for champion overall.
Yeah. Placings in our third class of Berkshire Breeding Gills. Fourth place goes to Abigail Pollock, Navarro FFA. Third place goes to Taylor Brawley, Seguin FFA. Second place is Auburn Frost, Navarro FFA. And first place goes to Stevie McFarland, Steel FFA. Congratulations. We will now be judging for our champion Berkshire Breeding Gill. Special thanks to Jeffrey's Livestock, who is here live streaming the show tonight and also tomorrow. So if any of you can't be here for the show tomorrow, our market show that is, you can go to Jeffrey's Livestock Marketing.com and you can pick up the show from your desktop or your home computer or whatever. But we appreciate them being here and helping us out and getting our show promoted. Thank you.
as you bring these class winners back out here. I'll tell you, there's probably not one that, obviously, time taken, there's not one that I think wins this with ease for me, but I am still very happy and appreciative of the quality that we have ended up sorting up coming back out here to represent our Berkshire breed. I mentioned earlier, I do like hogs stout. I do like them with a tremendous amount of body shape and muscle, but anytime you're in a breeding Gilt show, I'm going to try to stay as true as I can to the basics, and that being we still got to build them right. We got to make them sound, square, and functional, and I know each one of these Gilts do this. To me, it just kind of comes down to personal preference, and it kind of comes back to one of those hogs that I think just combines the most good. I think one that as I break them down piece by piece and evaluate each one of them as an individual, on the list of positives become just a bit longer for me on this particular hog. So if you could, let's put your hands together for each one of our exhibitors that showed here in the Berkshire breed. I'll take another look and shake the hand of your champion.
The champion Berkshire Breeding Gilt goes to Isabella Hartman, Navarro FFA. Congratulations.
In the mix, and I think if you describe both of those hogs individually, she's going to be described pretty similar to our last class winner because their advantages or their strength is going to be their skeleton, it's going to be their look and their build. But I take a step back and evaluate each one of these again. To me, the one that most closely resembles our class winner and kind of follows those things that I really like is going to be a young lady right here. Should be our reserve. Congratulations.
And a reserve champion Berkshire Breeding Gilt goes to Justine Covarrubias, Navarro FFA. Congratulations. Next class of breeding gilts that will be coming in the ring will be your Chester Whites. These gilts will be faired from July 2nd through July the 19th. We have 5 head entered.
we dive off into our chesters, and obviously, if you're watching the same two Hulks drive as I am, the quality bar gets turned up quite a bit. And I take a step back, and I know I could sit here and I could walk around for a long time and just try to sit there and be like, man, what kind of extravagant thing can I come up with to explain some differences between these two? And I want to try to be that unique. But in all honesty, I think the differences between them, it's pretty simple. We have two very high quality animals. There's one that's just got a lot more in every area, and that's going to be the young man's hog. It's going to end up being our class winner. That hog's bigger through its center body. That hog's bigger up high. Going away from you, that might be a place that I can give an edge to the second place hog in terms of pin width, in terms of stoutness of rear leg, and it's definitely helped by her extra hair and things like that, but we'll talk about in a second. But to be that, and to have that much volume, to be that big through its center body, and then it still get off to the side, and its skeleton work with comfort, its skeleton work with ease, is something that you have to appreciate, and things that I try to talk about there in the Berkshires kind of came to fruition there in the class winner, and even the one at second. And I hate to put one like this in second. That one's dang good, and it's unfortunate she's got to be second. That doesn't mean that you don't need to appreciate her quality, because I do. That one, if we talk about her as an individual, I would say everything I just said about the class winner. But unfortunately, we are in the class, and I do have to be comparative, and she's not as big there in her body. She's not as big up high. I do think she's bigger going away. Get off to the side of her. There's not any extra things I can tie into to say that's so much better to switch the pair. It really is just that basic. The differences between those two. The hole that's going to come out in third, fresh in terms of its appearance, a hole that you get right on top of that one, and I love it's in terms of width out of the backside of its blade, all the way back over its loin, but all that mass it does have up high. When you back off of it, I think that one can be stouter at the ground to help some proportionality from top to bottom. She probably just gets a little bit flatter. She probably just gets a little bit shallower down to the lower part of her body. The hole that's going to come in fourth is another one that's loose and comfortable. Maybe has some extra set through its hock at the same time, which isn't as attractive. Another one we can make deeper and softer. Never has the same mass and just power that those top two do. We round out this particular class with a stout one. Good in terms of its bone work. I need to fix that one structurally off of both ends. A little too straight in its blade. A little too straight there in its hock.
Placings in our first class of Chester Gills. Fifth place goes to Jacob Barney, Navarro FFA. Fourth place goes to Lena Loyola, Marion FFA. Third place goes to Cameron Mauricio, Clemens 4-H. Second place goes to Holly Kaiser, DeBrolin 4-H. And first place goes to Braden Fords, Marion FFA. Braden will also receive the Seguin Swine Breeders $100 bump check. The breeder of his hog is MT Hart Livestock. Our second class of Chester Gilts is entering the ring now. They were ferried from July 30th through August the 5th. There are 5 head in the class.
Absolutely love the stoutness, the power, the skeletal width that our class winner has. That one is an absolute monster coming at you in terms of pliability. They're off of both ends of its sternum. That one's got a great turn in shape to its forerib, to its center body and upper rib that sets a foundation for a very good look for a show judge when you get on top of them. And to have that much stoutness, power, and muscle, and to still get Art right in behind her, and she keeps her honk inside of her framework, and it's working with comfort and flexibility are things I'm going to appreciate and really, really like. Now, she's not perfect. We could elevate her just a bit at the top of her blade, tie her neck in just a bit smoother. We could probably even square her up in her knee coming at you, or elbow joint, coming at you, but that's getting critical on a hole that I think's got a lot of unique pieces. Again, we got a dang good one that comes in second, not to take anything away from her, but she gets kind of out-horsed by her class winner and then struggle to find just the huge differences or huge advantages to convince myself a pair like that ever needs to be a switch. As an individual, I like her skeleton. She's good in the angle of her blade. She's good in the length of her hip and set to her hind leg. That allows her to go with comfort. Her body's fresh. Her shape and depth is plenty good. She might be just a bit more elevated than our class winner, but definitely not a big enough difference to convince myself that ever needs to be switched. Another really good one to come in second. The Gilt is going to come in third to keep it real basic comparative to one in fourth. She's deeper. She's softer in her body. She's more maternal look and more functional in her build. The hole that's going to come in fourth's got unique pieces. That one's got a tremendous shape up high. Very, very good look ahead of its blade. That's one you look at and say, breed that one right, line it up. She's got some good things about her, but as a breeding animal, she just studies too harsh, too flat, and too hard there through the middle part of her rib. We round out the class with another Gilt that is basic in terms of depth, in terms of soundness. She just maybe gets the plainness in her look from the side. She's the most closed up when you study them down low.
Places in our second class Chester Gilts. Fifth place goes to Mason Richter, Steel FFA. Fourth place goes to Harley Frost, Navarro FFA. Third place goes to Morgan Booker, Navarro FFA. Second place goes to Haley Kaiser, New Berlin 4-H. And our class winner is Briley Clufus, Marion FFA. Briley will also receive the Seguin Swine Breeders bump check. Her pig was bred by Doug Alderson Farms. Congratulations. We will now judge for our champion, Chester Gilt.
I'm sure we're on the same page by now. I reiterated enough my liking for power hogs. Both of these Gilts that come out here are stout. They're opened up. They're big rib. Muscle's very good, but there's one out here that is just a bit better in terms of its look, its height of shoulder, allowing it to be more attractive. Skeleton is very, very good. That young man there out of our first class, but our heavier Gilt's going to be our champion. Congratulations.
Champion Chester Gilt goes to Braden Forts, Marion FFA.
Bring second out. She's definitely in the mix. These are two hogs that come out here in competition for reserve that I think has a tremendous amount of quality. With that class we started off with, hit me hard. I love both of those. I'm going to keep them together. Young lady right here is going to be reserve.
Reserve champion goes to Haley Kaiser. Sorry. Holly, excuse me, I'm sorry. Holly Kaiser. The New Berlin 4-H. Right? Our next class of breeding Gilts will be the Duroc breed. These Gilts were faired from July 1st to July 2nd. There's only 3 in this first class. Duroc breeding Gilts.
we'll skip the pinning process there to keep things rolling. Because to me, this class breaks down pretty quick, and we have a winner that I think wins with ease. I'll talk second, third here in a second. I think both of them have unique things about them, and for different reasons. But both things you like about them is putting a one package over there with our class winner. That one's a power hog whose stout opened up, good ribbed and muscular. But then from the side, I really like her proportions, her balance, the way she's put together, and then she reaches and plants with comfort. Her step is long, it's square and true. I think that's a very, very nice way to get our Durocs kicked off. Now you come in second and third. Those are two. I go back and forth, and I'm not saying that somebody could convince me to do something different, but what's going to end up being our second place Gilt out here, I think, is a better Gilt, a better breeding animal. If you study them from a skeletal standpoint, the angle of her blade, the length of her hip, the set to her hind leg, and how she uses it is so much better, so much looser. Her running gear is that much better, which is why she gets out and goes with more comfort. She can't play with our class winner because she's not as stout, she's not as wide, she's not as bold. Now, if you like them, and I do, I like them stout, I like them wide. When this young man brought this Gilt out, I said, yep, that one is feature form, blade, body, and back is how I like him to come at me. But she didn't really want to cooperate right out of the gate, never hit a gear fast enough to allow me to convince myself her skeleton was functional enough. Same thing as you asked her to come out here. I need to see her get out and go. Her blade's a bit straight, her hip's a bit short. She just doesn't play and push quite good enough to work up there in the top two.
Results in our first class of Duroc Gilts. Third place goes to Lucas Geldner. Navarro FFA. Second place goes to Jenna Contreras. Steel FFA. First place goes to Chance Charanza. The Berlin 4-H. And Chance will also win our Seguin Swine Breeders $100 bump check. The breeder of his pig was Frank Koviak, St. Hedwig Feed. Congratulations. Coming in the ring now will be our second class of Duroc Gilts. These will be faired from July the 10th to July the 15th. We have a total of 7 head entered.
maybe got a little pin happy there to start off with, but this young lady's hog still ends up sorting to the top for me. She doesn't jump away and run away with this. I do think this class has a tremendous amount of depth and quality, but I do think basics and function kind of still lend back to her being our class winner. That Gilt is very comparable or just very good. In terms of width, rib, and muscle, she's not out there. She's not the stoutest. She's not the most powerful one that we've seen yet today, but I think she's got plenty in those areas. The biggest difference between her and the Gilt and second is when I just stand right here on the fence and watch those hogs drive from the profile. I think her angle of blade, specifically the length of her hip and set to her hind leg, just allows her to plant and push with more ease, more comfort, and more authority. That becomes a difference maker between those two. Now, there's things about the Gilt second that I really, really appreciate. I like that Gilt elevation at the top of her blade. I like her extension and look ahead of it. I think a Gilt is maybe just a bit stouter in terms of her bone work, especially her rear leg. But I think as you study her and watch her continue to drive with that extra elevation, a little bit straighter blade, her hips a little bit shorter. That's why when you ask them to continue to drive, that every step's just a bit tighter and just a bit shorter. A very, very opened up, big rib, just broody one that comes in third. A very dimensional up high. She's still sound, but as I back off the hogs and evaluate her from the profile, she's a little rounder in the way she's put together. A little crest in her neck, a little rounder out of her hip. Consequently, that makes her just a bit plainer in her look. The Gilt that's going to come in fourth is one from the side I really like. Another one that's very elevated. She's level in terms of her makeup and her top line. She needs another one, though, that just gets too tight and short there out of her hip. Watch her come and go. She wants the funnel to her base. She's just a bit flat there in her body. The one that's really big in its kind that's going to come in fifth. A big, late maturing hoe that takes a long, comfortable step. I want to strengthen her behind her blade. I want to push her chine deeper between both sides of her blade. I think we could just give her a bit more width coming right at you as well.
Results in our second class of Duroc breeding gilts. Seventh place, Cage Herforth, Clemens 4H. Sixth place, Hayden Pompa, Clemens FFA. Fifth place, Cage Herforth, Clemens 4H. Fourth place, Briley Clufus, Marion FFA. Third place, Cade Kurz, Marion FFA. Second place, Justin Brawny, Navarro FFA. First place goes to Emily Chambers, Marion FFA. Emily will also receive the Skeen Swine Breeders Bump Check. Her pig was bred by St. Hedwig Feed, Frank Frankowiak. Vince Frankowiak, excuse me. Our third class is third from July.
Young man's Gilt that ends up being the class winner is one to give up on us quicker than you'd obviously like. But that one hit me pretty hard right there out of the gate because of that front view coming at you in terms of skull, chest width, and just bulkiness there to its forearm blade and forerib. And then you back off and just study that one. I like that one's proportionality and balance. It may be a little shorter body for some people, but I like the way that it allows that hog to fit together with proportion and balance. And another thing is we can make its hip longer, but to me, the biggest thing about making hip longer is usually to help range of motion, flexibility, and the way they use their rear skeleton. It hasn't affected that Gilt at all. To me, she's the best combination of stoutness, power with a loose, correct, stout skeleton. The Gilt that's going to come in second. She's bigger in her kind. She's longer in her body. She's got some elevation. And she's a hog that I think you get right on top of her. You appreciate just some spread and shake from blade to hip. And then when you back off and you watch her drive from the profile, already mentioning her height to shoulder, and you study the construction of her rear leg, her hip does read longer. The set to her hind leg is good, but I don't think she necessarily uses it any better. As you ask the hogs to continue to drive, to me, she's just a bit tighter. She's just a bit quicker. She wants to twist and turn when you watch how she uses that rear skeleton, and she doesn't have the same boldness or depth to her center rib that our class winner does. The hog that's going to come in third is another powerful, muscular one. I need to just maybe fix the skeleton that hog lays that extra muscle on. Compared to the two ahead of her, she's the tightest in her skeleton of those top three. She's maybe just a little bit more fragile in terms of her rear leg as well, compared to all that muscle she does have up high. The depth and softness of center body in the hog in fourth may hit you initially as just a bit more a maternal compared to the hog ahead of you or ahead of her, and I wouldn't argue, but her skeleton isn't any better. She gets even flatter and narrow all the way to the surface. We ran out this particular group with a Gilt that's got good shape up high, but it's very easy to see she's the lowest performing. The bigger thing is I just need to fix her skeleton for her to work up.
Placings in our third class of Duroc breeding gilts. Fifth place goes to Alexis Palace, Steel FFA. Fourth place goes to Jolene Swicky, Marion FFA. Third place goes to Matthew Rodriguez, Steel FFA. Second place goes to Briston Birdwell, Marion FFA. And our class winner goes to Cross Kelso, New Berlin 4-H. Cross will also receive the Seguin Swine Breeders bump check. The breeder of his pigs was Kelso Genetics. Congratulations. Coming in the ring now will be class 4 of our Duroc breeding gilts. These gilts were fed from July the 29th through August the 4th.
Another of those classes that I'd call deep. I don't know if the one that wins, you say wins with ease, but it was the one that hit me the hardest out of the gate. And as I continue to work through them, the one that kept walking by saying that one's my favorite. And the reason that she is I like that hug's looseness of skeleton. You can't go that fast if you're not built right, and I think that she is. Her angle of her blade, length of hip, set to hind leg, how she plants and pushes is comfortable. She comes at you with plenty of width. Body shape, muscles good. All those are just check, 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 check. To me, she just puts together the highest quality package, which makes her my class winner. The Gilt that's going to come in second is tremendous, and her width coming at you. Some may say a little bit too wide. We could probably square her up in her elbow joint just a bit, but that does allow her to feed out of her sternum with a very good turn to her full rib and her center body. She's got good spread up high and from behind. And when I talk her individually from the side, I wouldn't question her functionality. I think her comfort level, her squareness, and just flexibility is plenty good. But comparative to our class winner, she isn't as tall at her shoulder. She gets a little shorter and rounder out of her hip. Her extra set to her hock isn't as attractive as what our class winner's rear skeleton is. The Gilt is going to come in third. Hits me as broody. She's deep body. She's stout. She's sound. I start to break her down and look at those extras. She's the most general ahead of her blade. She gets the most general when you get right on top of her. As she drives away from you, she's a little plainer there out of her hip down to the lower part of her hand. The Gilt that's going to come in fourth. Young man does a great job getting her shown. She's good in her shape. She's another one that takes a long, comfortable step. She's a little rounder in her build. She's a little bit frailer in terms of her bone work. Coming at you, we need to square her up from her knee down to the ground. The young man's Gilt that's going to round out this particular group has good pieces in terms of shape, extension ahead of its blade, muscle and stoutness is good. Need to fix that one's front skeleton by pushing its blade back. Need to make it deeper, softer, and more maternal back into its flank.
Placings in our fourth class of Duroc breeding gilts. Eighth place, Harley Frost, Navarro FFA. Seventh place, Maxwell Minchow, New Berlin 4-H. Sixth place goes to Kennedy Schneider, Marion FFA. Fifth place goes to Corey Dilling, Marion FFA. Fourth place goes to Kylo Reinert, New Berlin 4-H. Third place goes to Lena Adams, Clemens FFA. Second place goes to Case Kelso, New Berlin 4-H. And first place goes to Emily Clutter, Marion FFA. Emily will also receive the $100 bump check from Seguin Swine Breeders. Her breeder on her pig was MT Hart Livestock. We're now bringing in our fifth and last class of Durocs. These gilts were ferried from August the 9th to August the 11th. We have 6 head in the class.
I got a feeling we're about to bring a lot of good class winners out here for our Duroc Drive. But before we do that, I got to tell you, I'm very, very excited about how good we end here. I think this pair of gilts that finish our last class of our gilt show are both very good. The one that's going to be my class winner is one that came I think last and hit me very hard, and I think one that's hard to pick a big hole in. Right here in front of us is going to be our class winner. That hoge's going to check off all those boxes. I've kind of said that already. Check off every box in my mind that I need or want my hogs to have with stoutness, body, muscle, with a tremendous look from the side and a very good skeleton and a very good build. I like that hog quite a bit. Now, the hog that's going to come in second, she came out earlier. When that one came driving, then I watched her kind of strut around out there as the other ones continue to come. I said, that one's going to be the one that's out there that you have to beat. And I think that hog is very good because of her skull shape, because of her chest width. The shape and this genuine turn to her forerib is very good. Her width from behind was still a square hock is very good. But in my mind, I have a way that I want my breeding gilt to come together in terms of proportionality and balance. And when you compare her to our class winner, she's just a bit shallower, cuts up into her flank just a bit more. She's not as smooth in how she ties the backside of her loin into a rounder hip. Ultimately, it doesn't just finish those aesthetic pleasing things that I'm after in terms of their look and just balancing there from the profile. Stoutness and power is something you're really going to appreciate about the very, very broody gilt that comes in third. Her feature, the size of her legs, the dimension of muscle up high and from behind is very good. But you watch that gilt drive there from the profile, everything's a little bit more jammed up. She's plainer. She's more general ahead of her blade. She never hit me with the same look of quality from the profile that the hogs in first and second do. The gilt that's going to come in fourth, good muscle, good width, good power. I just need to make her deeper and softer of her body. We got to push her blade back. We got to make her hip longer. We got to make her skeleton more functional. Same thing for the gilt that's going to round out this particular group. I like her muscle. I like her extension. She's a little bit more fragile, and then I compared it to the one ahead of her. She's a lower performing gilt that needs to be pushed back in her blade and longer out of her hip and better in terms of her build.
Placings in our last class of Duroc breeding gilts. Sixth place goes to Kylie Michelle Leggett, Steel FFA. Fifth place goes to Jenna Contreras, Steel FFA. Fourth place goes to Victoria Ledecky, Steel FFA. Third place goes to Lucas Geldner, Navarro FFA. Second place goes to Grace Vogel, Navarro FFA. And your class winner is Cody Kelso, the Berlin 4-H. The winner of the Seguin Swine Breeders $100 bump check is Victoria Leidecke. I hope I'm saying that right. Her pig was bred by Kelso Genetics. Congratulations all. We'll be now judging our champion Duroc gilt.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a friendly reminder for tonight and even tomorrow we get into the Market Hog Show. There will be nobody allowed behind the holding pens for this evening or for tomorrow during the market show. We've got the spray bottles up there. We'll make sure they stay full. But just a friendly reminder, no one is allowed behind the holding rings tonight or tomorrow during the market show.
when you bring them back out here, they're as good as I was hoping, and I'm very, very happy and glad that I get to work through each one of these hogs. And to me, I don't know if you can say there's one that has to win. There's going to end up being one that's my favorite, but I'll tell you, each one of these hogs represents tremendous amount of quality. I understand how hard it is to get to this point, to get the hogs presented to the way they are. There's all kind of things that can go wrong. So just to be here and then to bring them at this quality, shown this good, I thank y'all very much. As a show judge, the one that's going to end up being our champion is one that I think, as you take a step back, you're gonna describe those basic things when you're describing her, but then you start to compare her out here with all the other class winners. She takes those basic things to another level. I think she's more unique in a lot of ways compared to our other contemporaries, and I think one that if you talk about how you make them, I think this one's the hardest to put together. So go ahead and put your hands together for each one of these exhibitors. I'll take another look and I'll shake the hand of your champion.
Champion Duroc Breeding Gilts goes to Cody Kelso, the Berlin 4-H. Congratulations.
Bring second out. She gets right up in there with them, and you definitely have to consider them. But I'll tell you, the one that's going to end up being reserved is one that I think if you're breaking down those pieces, you could argue has one thing that is better than our champion, and that's this one's unreal stoutness. This one's skull shape, size to its form and blade. Rear leg is huge, and I know to get out here for me, that was a good thing about these Duroc classes is I could tie into those pieces that I like, but you still had to be good in terms of skeleton. You still had to be functional, loose in terms of its build. I like this one a good deal. Probably not as elevated as our class winner. That becomes the difference maker. Put your hands together for each one of these. I'll go shake your hand of my second favorite.
Our reserve champion Duroc Breeding Gilts goes to Chance Chiranza, the Berlin 4-H. Congratulations to all. Moving along with our breeding gilt show, we now have our Hampshire breed. The first class of Hampshire gilts were fed from July the 15th through July the 18th. We have 3 entered in the first class. They should be coming up here briefly. Our judge tonight is Clayton Schramm. He is from Sealy, Texas. He's a graduate of Texas A&M. He was on the judging team at Texas A&M, livestock judging team that is. He raises show pigs as well as judges them. And he is currently engaged with Fullapep as a field rep for them. Get a chance tonight. Thank our judge. He's done a great job so far. Thank you.
Hampshires get kicked off. The young man to the right is Gilt, one that hits me the hardest. Main thing or a big reason is going to be why that I do just kind of gravitate to that one very quickly is because of that young man's showmanship and the presentation of the pig. As a show judge, you appreciate their skin and hair to be as good as like that one or as good as that one's is. But then you break down, you compare them, and you start to explain that hog. And as comparative to her contemporaries, I like her body shape and depth, probably the best of these three. I like her extension and attractiveness ahead of her blade. She's good and fresh in her turn from blade to hip. When you ask the hogs to drive, I'll be honest, my expectations of structural correctness does go down just a bit when the Hampshires start. But I think out here, being positive, her length of stride, her comfort level, and set to her hock is still the best. The Gilt that's going to come in second, it's big in her kind, very, very extended. She's good in her width and dimension up high and from behind. Comparative to her class winner, she gets just a bit shallow in terms of her body, not allowing her to hit you with the same maternal look. The Gilt that's going to round out this particular class is one that's got some dimension up high, but I want to fix her when you follow her down to the ground. She wants to funnel to her base from the side. She's the shallowest in her body. When you ask the hogs to drive, I think she's the tightest of these three in her movement.
Placing in your Hampshire breeding gilts first class. Third place goes to Sterling Barbie, Marion FFA. Second place goes to Cameron Cerna, Berlin 4-H. And our class winner goes to Avery Franklin, Seguin FFA.
Check his stern. Cameron Cerna.
Okay.
This is bump check from.
The Seguin swine breeder bump check goes to Cameron Cerna. The breeder of his pig was Daggy's Show Pigs. Our second class of Hampshire Gilts is entering the ring now. We have forehead. They were faired from August the 9th to August the 9th. All of these are the same fairing date.
If you just back up, watch the hogs drive. The one that comes out here can get its head up, loosen it, stay loose in its spine with squareness and flexibility off of both ends. Is the young man's Gilt right here to my right, and wins this class pretty easily. And not only does she do that, but she does it with some extras in terms of look, with a great shape and depth there to her body. A little closer decision between second and third. I like the young man's hogs extra ribs, shape, and depth in relation to its frame size. Another hole that's got some width and power off of both ends. To compete with our class winner, she's got to have just a bit more look there from the side and just a bit more comfort when you ask the hogs to drive. The hog that's going to come in third is bigger in her kind. She's later in terms of her maturity pattern. She's still got good shape up high and from behind, but compare the two ahead of her, she just gets a bit flatter. She gets a bit shallower in her body. It doesn't allow her to have the same maternal look as the other two. We ran out this class with the Gilt that's got good shape up behind from behind. She's the lowest performing, and at the same time, she's the most closed up down low. I think from the side, she's the most general in her look.
We're now judging for our champion, Ham Gilt.
When you bring both these class winners out, I think there's a lot of similarities. In terms of their look ahead of their blade, I think there's a lot of similarities in their freshness, shape, and depth of their body. But there's between those two, there's one that just stays better, more relaxed in her spine. There's one that's just better in just the use of its skeleton off of both ends. The young man there out of our last class is going to be our champion. Congratulations to him.
Congratulations to Weston Warrendale, the Vero FFA. We'll now be judging for our reserve champion.
As you bring second out and you compare those two, to me, the one that's just maybe studies with a bit more quality in terms of look up front, shape up high, with still the extras and stoutness and extras in terms of their center body is going to be a young man here to my left. That'll be a reserve.
Your reserve champion, Ham, was shown by Avery Franklin, Seguin FFA. We will now bring our single entry. We have a Hereford hog coming in here, Hereford Gilt. She's faired on July the 11th. We have a single entry.
I'm not afraid to admit when I think it's close and understanding that people can like it a different way, but I don't think you can disagree with me on this one. A young lady right here in front of us is going to be showing our champion Hereford. I don't see a lot of Hereford. Yeah, absolutely. I don't see a lot of Hereford pigs, but I do think she could stand some competition. She's got a width. She's got a great shape and depth to her body. A lot of dimension up high. I think handles it relatively okay. A very, very good Gilt to come out and represent the Hereford breed. Congratulations to her.
And your champion, Hereford Gilt, belongs to Abigail Pollock, the Vero FFA. Congratulations. She also will receive the Seguin Swine Breeder's bump check. Her breeder was Bubba Eckhart. Coming in our ring now will be our Poland China breeding gilts fared August 2nd through September 1st. We have 4 entries only. We will judge the champion reserve out of the same class. Everybody in the barn, if you are going to be here for the Market Hog Show tomorrow, that show will be at 8:30, not 8 o'clock, as I believe was posted somewhere. The show will be at 8:30 tomorrow morning. We got a little later start than normal, but it will be here, same place. I'd love to have all y'all out here again. Thank you.
We have 2 hogs remain driving out here for what's going to end up being our champion in reserve. Poland and 2 hogs that I think have a tremendous amount of quality, but to me there is one that wins and does so pretty handily. And the one that's going to end up being our champion, if you just back up and watch him drive from the side, the way this hog's put together in terms of her skeleton, in terms of her build, I think is superior to her contemporaries. This hog's height, the shoulder, but then still a correct angle to its blade is something you have to to appreciate as a livestock appreciator. Her look ahead of it's very good. Her hip and hind leg construction is tremendous, and then she still comes with power and rib and muscle. That's young lady to the right. She'll be showing our champion Poland. Congratulations to her. The Gilt that's going to come in second certainly matches the champion's stoutness of feature. If you just talk about skull, forearm blade, and size to its rear leg, but at the same time, that Hulk skeleton is going to be as good. Her blade's a little straighter, her hip and hind legs just a bit tighter, and I still think going away she'll funnel to her base more than what our champion will. The Hull that's going to come in third, I guess could explain that one a lot of similar ways to the reserve. She's big in her kind, she's extended, she's got some stoutness of bone work. She either gets too flat and harsh and shallow in her body compared to the two hogs ahead of her. And then we ran out this group with a big, deep, soft one that just gets a little plain. It's a little fragile and just in terms of its bone work.
Results on our Poland China breeding guilds. First place and champion Poland belongs to Cody Kelso, the Berlin 4-H. Second place belongs to Case Kelso, the Berlin 4-H. Third place, Jaden Wallace, Steel FFA. Fourth place, Noah Richter, Steel FFA. And our Seguin Swine Breeder $100 bump check goes to Jaden Wallace. The pig was bred by Kelso Genetics.
Next to both sides.
Okay, our next group of breeding gilts coming in will be your spot breed, Spotted Poland China. They are faired from July 1st through July the 17th. We have 7 head entered. Attention those that will be showing tomorrow in the Market Hog Show. All the classes are posted inside the hog barn. Make sure that your pig is in the correct class. If there's any mistakes, please let us know. And again, we'll start up at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow morning.
the big stout power hog that's good enough in terms of its skeleton, its flexibility, ends up being the class winner. The young man's loud Mark Gilt here to my left is undoubtedly out here the stoutest in its skull, its form, its blade. That one has a tremendous amount of spread up high. What keeps those advantages is the hogs lead you in terms of pin width, in terms of width, and all the way to the ground, but still squareness in its hog. And then as you ask the hogs to get out and drive from the side, I'm never saying I just look at that one and say, man, your skeleton is awesome, but it's flexible, it's loose, its step is long enough to go ahead and still allow it to be the class winner. The challenge is maybe a little bit more from a second and third, and I'll tell you, second, just her kind necessarily isn't one that I always tie into, but I do think being an appreciator out here of quality, I think that one becomes the second most unique, if you will. That hog's bigger in her kind. She's extremely elevated. She's extremely extended ahead of her blade, allowing her to be very good in her look. Her skeleton is very comfortable. She's sound. She's not near as stout. She's not near as wide, bold, or muscular as what our class winner is. The Gilt that comes in third is probably the next closest in those areas of stoutness, rib shape, and muscle comparative to our class winner, but it's obviously not even close to the same degree. And that hog's lower fronted, plainer ahead of its blade, and that hog just never hits you with the same look of quality as the hog in second does, or the same stoutness, obviously, as our class winner. Basics, still say you need to appreciate the hog in fourth. She takes a long step. She's got enough body. I need to blend her ham loin together just a bit better. She needs to be just a bit stouter in terms of her foot. I don't think she just ever hits you with any unique pieces from any angle that you study her. And the hog that's going to round out this particular group is big in her stature, late in her maturity pattern. She's got a tremendous amount of look up front, but for me to tie into that look, her hip and hind leg has to be just a bit better. The biggest thing is she gets too frail. She gets too narrow when she leaves you.
Results in our first class of spot breeding gilts. Seventh place goes to Kaylee Barbie, Marion FFA. Sixth place goes to Luke Ramirez, Clemens FFA. Fifth place goes to Chase Collin, Clemens FFA. Fourth place goes to Mason Richter, Steele FFA. Third place goes to Luke Bell, Santa Clara 4-H. Second place goes to Jada Littlefield, Santa Clara 4-H. And first place in your class winner is Tyler Schneider, Marion FFA. Tyler will also receive the Seguin Swine Breeders bump check. The breeder on the pig was BC Show Hogs. Entering now is the second class of spot breeding gilts. These were faired from July the 28th through August 22nd. Correction on our last class as far as the Seguin Swine Breeders bump check. The $100 check goes to actually Jada Littlefield, Santa Clara 4-H, and the breeder was BC Show Pigs. That remained the same. Sorry about that.
for our last class of our spot breed. The young man's Gilt that's going to end up being the class winner, I think, is very intriguing and is very unique in a lot of ways. That one's a stout, hairy one. That's feature reads very good. Its length of stride from the side is long and as loose as you can ask him to be. I'll be honest, though, if we're going to try to get critical, that one's maybe living on the edge just a bit in terms of where its hock joint, its elbow joint, sit in relation to its body, but I'm willing to take that risk to grab some of those extra pieces, some of those extra unique things, and some of that extra quality. Now, if you want to be conservative and safe, the Gilt in second is certainly square, coming and going from the side. I like that one's look, elevation, and extension. She just didn't have near the stoutness, the width, or the power that our class winner does. The Gilt that's going to come in third's got a great shape-up pie, which I think is pretty unique for the spot breed, and I like her. That one's power going away as well, but I study the flatter-bodied hog driving from the profile. Her blade's just a bit straighter. Consequently, in motion, she just gets a bit tighter. The hog that's going to come in fourth has some depth, some softness, a maternal sweep back into its flank that you can admire, and has some stoutness there to its rear leg. This gets plainer. This gets more general in terms of its look up front. Gets a little bit plainer in terms of its muscle. And then we round out the group. This hog's probably the highest and the biggest and highest performing hog who's got a tremendous amount of volume, but I think that hog needs to be stouter in its bone work.
Results in our second class of spot breeding gilts. Fifth place goes to Emma Hartman, Navarro FFA. Fourth place goes to Megan Still, Steel FFA. Third place goes to Brent W. McCollis, Steel FFA. Second place goes to Auburn Frost, Navarro FFA. And our class winner was Kason Klufus, Marion FFA. Congratulations to all. We'll now judge for our champion spot breeding gilt.
The things I described these hogs that were similar about the two is their stoutness. If you talk about their skull and just the sculpture of their form and blade, their muscle and their power going away is very, very good. Of those two, the two stout hogs, the one that's square, more conservative in the placement of its elbow joint and where its hock is, while also being just smoother in how it ties the backside of its loin into the front side of its hip, is going to be the champion, and that's the young man's older gilt. Congratulations to him.
Champion breeding gilt is Tyler Schneider, Marion FFA. Congratulations. We're now judging for our reserve.
Bring second behind the champion. The same thing I say in class is the same thing that needs to be said out here in contention for reserve. She is different. I can understand people that like her kind just a bit better in terms of her elevation, extension. It makes her just a bit more feminine in her appearance. I like hogs that are a bit stouter and wider. I'm going to keep the two that are similar together. Young men there out of our last class will be reserved.
And your reserve spot belongs to Kason Klufus, Marion FFA. Congratulations. We will now go to our Yorkshire breed. Our first class of Yorkshire gilts were faired from July the 9th through July the 17th. We have four head entered.
our first class of Yorkshires certainly offers some challenge. And I'll tell you the thing that I guess the biggest thing that sticks out to me is Yorkshire breed, and what I think they're supposed to be known for is to be very maternal, for their structure to be very good, and for them to be able to do other things that sows are supposed to be able to do as far as being good mothers. And that's the thing that maybe sticks out the most to me of this grouping of hogs is that they are maybe not all for doing that. And so when I take a step back and I think of the basics of what a female is supposed to do, structure, functionality is going to be number one and the highest on its list. And the only thing I can confidently say is the young lady's hog that ends up being our champion is the best in that category. That hog is the best in the angle of her blade. She's the longest out of her hips. She's the best in the set to her hog. That's why when you ask the hogs to get out and drive, that she can go with the loosest and most comfortable skeleton. I want her stouter, I want her wider, I want her bolder in her body, but I can't find a hog out here to match her skeletal correctness. That's why she ends up still being my class winner. The Gilt is going to come in second, I would say, is one that's maybe just a bit deeper, just a bit bolder in terms of her body, but I don't think her natural base width, if you study the width of her chest, the width out of her pins, or the width of her to the ground as she goes away from you, is honestly that much wider than our class winner. And you study her rear skeleton, she's shorter out of her hip, she's straighter in her hog. That's why she's not as sound and comfortable as our class winner. You get in third and fourth. Both of these hogs are going to be stouter, they're going to be wider, they're going to be bolder, and as we know, those are the type of things I like. But we can't sacrifice too much functionality, and I think that's what ends up happening in third and fourth. Young lady's hog just too tight off of both ends. Everything's a little too jammed up. I need to see her more comfortable. She's going to work in the top two. You round out with the fourth place hog. Good shape up high. This study's a little too terminal in terms of the way she's put together.
Places in our first class of Yorkshire Gilts. Fourth place goes to Madeline St. John, Navarro FFA. Third place goes to Randolyn Wagster, Navarro FFA. Second place, Cheyenne Kuhlman, Navarro FFA. And our class winner is Lena Adams, Clemens FFA. Your recipient of the Seguin Swine Breeders $100 bump check goes to Madeline St. John. The breeder of her pig was Real Hog Farms. Congratulations. Our next class is Yorkshire Gilts, fared from July 31st through August 25th. Again, I want to say a special thank you to the young ladies in the ring here that have helped us pass out all the ribbons tonight. We have Morgan Carnes, who's our Guadalupe County Fair Duchess, and Rayleigh Childs, our Guadalupe County Miss Rodeo Princess. Thank you, ladies.
The hogs that end up being in first and second, I think, have plenty of width, stoutness, and muscularity, both up high and from behind. But of those two, to me, there's one that studies just a bit fresher, just a bit softer, more maternal in their body, and then still gets out and goes with more comfort, and that's the young man to the right that ends up being our class winner. I think a hole that kind of sorts up pretty quickly in my mind. The hole that's in second, like I said, most closely resembles my class winners feature, shape, and just width going away and coming at you. I just see a hole that's maybe just a bit flatter, just a bit shallower in her body. I think a hole that could blend the backside of her loin just a bit smoother into the front side of her hip. And the gilt that's going to round out this class is very deep, soft in her body. She does give you a maternal look, but she's the most she's the one that funnels the most to her base. When you watch her come and go, she gets short out of her hip and wants to duck her pins. When you ask the hogs to drive, she maybe just doesn't hit you with the same amount of look there from the side as well compared to the two ahead of her. Good job.
Placings in our second class Yorkshire Gilts. Third place goes to Cade Herforth, Clemens 4-8. Second place goes to Hayden Warrendale, the Vero FFA. And our first place pig in our category was Weston Warrendale, the Vero FFA. The Seguin Swine Breeders bump check will go to Real Hog Farm. Breeder was Real Hog Farm, Cage Herforth. Congratulations. We're now judging for our champion Yorkshire Gilt.
When you bring both of these class winners back out here, I think both of them, obviously, about how I described them in class, we can talk positive about their skeleton. I can call both of these sound. I can call both of these flexible, but there's one out here that's still bigger, bolder bodied, and then also comes with more stoutness, comes with more spread up high, more power when you get right in behind him. Young man out of second class is going to be showing our champion Yorkshire. Congratulations to him.
Champion Yorkshire Breeding Gilt belongs to Weston Warrendale, Navarro FFA. Will now judge for reserve.
The bigger gilt there to the first class, like we said, in that class wins just because of structure. And I still appreciate that about her. But when you bring the second behind our champion, I think she follows our champion the closest in combining with muscle and stoutness and still flexible enough skeleton. I'll keep those two together. Young man here right in front of me with reserve. Good job. Good job.
Our reserve York belongs to Hayden Warrendale, Navarro FFA. Congratulations. We will now start our Breeding Gilt show, the crossbred class. We will have our first class coming in here shortly. These gilts were faired from June the 16th to July 6th. And we have three head in this first class.
as the class winner comes driving out there that first gate, and I see that with a chest, that just extra feature and size to that one's skull, forearm, and blade, and then the extra turn to its body and spread up high. I told myself we got to be good enough going away to win, and I'll tell you, she's not perfect. She is living the life on, or she's living life out on the edge just a bit in terms of where her hock sits in relation to her stifle joint. Her hip could be longer, but I think if you back off and watch her drive from the profile, her length of stride and her flexibility, range of motion is good enough to be able to allow me to stick with my kind, and she wins and does so pretty quickly. The Blue Master, blue spotted up gilt there, that's going to come in second, is big in her kind. She's got elevation. She's got depth, softness to her body, and some spread up high. But for everything she does have up high, we need to stouten her up in her bone work, not only to help proportionality from top to bottom, but obviously to match and compete with the feature that our class winner has. The gilt that's going to come in third, she's got plenty of volume. If you study her through her center part of her body, she's got plenty of width and muscle as well, but she's another one of those that gets just a bit frailer there at the ground. She's a gilt that in motion is just a bit straighter in her blade, shorter in her hip, consequently making her work up in her spine just a tad and be a little tight there in motion.
Results in your first class of crossbred breeding gilts. Third place goes to Tate Green, New Berlin 4-H. Second place goes to Leona Leola, Marion FFA. First place goes to Braden Forts, Marion FFA. Lena Leola will win the $100 Seguin Swine Breeder Bump Check. The breeder of the hog was Real Hog Farms. Now we're bringing our second class of crossbred gilts. These were faired from July 18th to August 4th. We have 5 head in there.
Yes, I think this pair is close, and I go back and forth a lot of times, and ultimately just land on the hog that not only probably hit me the hardest right out of the gate, but I can maybe just create a list of things that are not only positives, but I think are more unique and I think are higher quality. And the young man's predominantly black gilt here to my left is one that's very intriguing. That one's got a lot of hair, and I don't, regardless of where you stand on that kind of modern thing that we're starting to talk about a lot, it is a truth, and it helps that hog stoutness. It helps that hog's density, and it helps that hog just size to its back leg. When we start talking about that one's rear leg, I think the set of it is very good. I think the how that one hinges out of its hip is very good, allowing it to plant and push with so much comfort. There's times where I'm like, maybe that hog's getting outside of itself, but when I get right in behind her, she never plants too far for me to get that hard, and then she's big and bold and dense in her center body from the side. Everything fits together, proportions and balance. The only other thing maybe I could fix is I think we could pick her up on her front feet just a bit more. When you talk about the blue hog that comes in second, it's hard to make hogs that genuine coming at you in terms of the width at the base of their chest, and when you do that, it's hard to make them, and it's not hard to do when you make their chest that wide. It's easy to make them come out of their sternum and be so true in the turn to the full ribbed center body to allow that kind of spread up high, and I think that hog's blade angle is good, and I just love that one from its hip forward. And although I think it's its hip and hind leg works with enough function, I just don't like the way that it's put together. I don't think it's as attractive as our class winner. It's shorter and rounder. It has extra set to its hog, and ultimately just makes that hog just a bit more general in its look to me there from the side. The predominantly white gilt's just a bit bigger in her kind. She's got some more elevation. She's got plenty of volume. I think a hog that's a little bit more fragile at the surface, a little bit smaller in terms of her foot, and then in motion, that hog's just a bit tighter off of both ends compared to the hogs in first and second. The gilt that comes in fourth is another one that's loose and elevated and extended. She just gets a bit flatter in her body. She wants to funnel to her base just a bit. And the calico hog that rounds out this particular group has some stoutness and has some muscle from behind. She's a little rounder in her look. She's a little looser in her ear and a little plainer there ahead of her blade. Just not hitting me with the same quality as the hogs that stand ahead of her.
Places in our second class of cross gilts. Sixth place is Bauer Birdwell, Marion FFA. Fifth place, Gabriela Shimonik Vasquez, Clemens FFA. Fourth place, Caden Gemler, Marion FFA. Third place is Emma Linsman, Marion FFA. Second place is Braden Forts, Marion FFA. And your class winner is Cross Kelso, New Berlin 4-H. Cross will also receive the Seguin Swine Breeder's bump check. The breeder on his pig is Kelso Genetics. Congratulations to you all. Our third and last class of cross gilts is entering the ring now. These were ferried from August the 15th to September the 1st.
I do think your top pair of hogs here are pretty different. They're type and kind, but to keep it simple, and the hog that's built wider, bolder, and just stouter still has a faster running gear that allows her to get out and go and study with just a bit more comfort. That decision becomes pretty easy, in my opinion. That's the young lady's class winner here. I think that hog combines things that I'm after. The hog that's going to come in second, she's bigger in her kind. She's got more elevation. She still has a good shape up high, but when you get off to the side of that Gilt, all her angles study to be plenty good. Her step isn't as long. Her speed definitely isn't as good, not ever allowing me to get very confident that her skeleton's that much better. Then when you get right on top of them, she studies just a bit flatter in terms of her body down to the lower part of her cage, and I do think that's because she's more closed up underneath. The blue Gilt that comes in third is big. She's deep and soft in her center part of her body. She's another one I think's got enough width. Her hips a little bit shorter. I just want to see her maybe just be a bit bigger in her kind as well, comparatively specifically to the hog in second. The hog that's going to come in fourth is a hog that has some depth, some softness, kind of a maternal sweep back into her flank. She just gets a little general in her muscle. She gets a little general in her look from the side. And then we round out the class with the Poland wannabe that's got some shape up high and some power from behind. It gets too flat, gets too shallow and harsh there through the middle part of her rib.
Placings in our third class across Gilts. Fifth place goes to Brooke Stevens, Marion FFA. Fourth place goes to Isabella Hartman, Navarro FFA. Third place goes to Gavin Bennett, Marion FFA. Second place goes to Lucas Gilner, Navarro FFA. And our class winner is Haley Kaiser, New Berlin 4-H. And she will receive also, Haley will receive the Seguin Swine Breeders bump check of $100. And the breeder was Doug Allerson Farms. We will now judge for our champion crossbred breeding gilt.
I'll try to run back through them as quick as possible. We'll start off here with the hog that came out first. The young man there to the far left. That hog is so broad down low, so broad in its body and just wide dimensional up high. We talked in class, the thing that's not perfect about that hog and maybe becomes even more of a problem out here amongst these other ones is that one's hip could be just a bit longer. When you watch that hog go directly away from you, we got to make her square where her hock is in relation to her stifle joint, so I can with confidence say that one's skeleton's good enough to end up being our champion crossbred. The black hog that ends up winning that second class, that class was close. That one's very unique in a lot of ways in terms of proportionality, in terms of feature and stoutness, and we talk about the little things that really don't matter but do look cool. That hog's hairy, and I think it just adds to its quality. We compare that one out here to the other ones. That was the weakest on its front pastures, and although it might not look at ringside, if you do get up on all three hogs out here, I'm not saying that one's narrow, but of the three out here, that one's the flattest body and gets out power just a bit through the center part of their body compared to the other class winners. The hog that wins the last class, that one's opened up. That one's great body. That one's muscles very, very good. And then you watch that hog drive from the side. Things fit together. She's been driving the longest, the most consistent out here. So obviously she's getting tired, but I think her skeleton's comfortable. I think it works good. Her feet are stronger. She's square going away. Initially, I didn't think that one would be my champion, but I think she's got the least amount of flaws. I'm going to stick with her. Congratulations, young lady.
Champion Cross Gilt belongs to Haley Kaiser, New Berlin 4-H. Will now judge for reserve champion. I'll make an announcement that the concession stands will be closing at 8:30. They have hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff, I think I was told. But anyway, just go get it if you're hungry. Thank you.
Bring second out. She's different than the other class winners. She's bigger in her kind. She's more extended. She's later in her maturity pattern. But like we said in class, she doesn't have the same width, rib, and power that I've maybe been after all day. To me, it comes down between the other two. I think you can pick your poison. Either one of them are perfect. I do think the one that's the next most unique, the next most out there, young man here to the right will be reserved.
Reserve champion belongs to Braden Forts, Marion FFA. Congratulations. At this time, we will bring back our champion and reserve champion breeds. All the breed champions and reserves, start bringing them to the arena if you're not here already. We will be judging for our Supreme Gilt in just a few minutes. Again, just want to remind everybody, if you're not able to come tomorrow to watch the show, we have Jeffrey's Livestock Marketing. They are over there in the corner, and they will be live streaming our Market Hog show tomorrow. So if you want to watch from home on your computer, they just go to jeffrieslivestockmarketing.com, and there you'll find the site. They'll show you how to get to the show here and watch live as we go through all the pigs tomorrow. Again, the show will be starting at 8:30, not 8 o'clock. There's been some confusion about that, but the show will start at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow morning. Thank you. Okay, we're ready to start our champion drive. We're going to start with the show order and announce the champions. In our Berkshire class, the champion belongs to Isabella Hartman of the Navarro FFA, and the reserve was Justine, Corribas, thank you, Navarro FFA. In our Chester class, the champion was Braden Forts. The reserve was Holly Kaiser. Representing the Duroc class, our champion was Cody Kelso, New Berlin 4-H. Our reserve was Chance Charanza, New Berlin 4-H. Hampshires, our champion Hampshire was Weston Warrendale, Navarro FFA. Reserve champion was Avery Franklin, Seguin FFA. Oh. Champion Hereford Hog was Abigail Pollock, Navarro FFA. Poland Chinas, our champion was Cody Kelso, New Berlin 4-H. Reserve was Case Kelso, New Berlin 4-H. In our spot class, champion spot was Tyler Schneider, Marion FFA. Reserve was Kason Klufus, Marion FFA. In our Yorkshire class, champion was Weston Warrendale, Navarro FFA. Reserve was Aiden Warrendale, Navarro FFA. And lastly, our cross class, our champion was Haley Kaiser, New Berlin 4-H. Our reserve was Braden Forts, Marion FFA. Congratulations to you all.
Okay, guys, y'all can let them rest for just a second. I want to start off by saying thank y'all for letting me come out today. I mean, let me tell you, today or this evening was absolutely awesome. The pigs are incredible. The kids were even better, and I thank the ring help so much to allow the show to go so smooth. I can never say thank you enough for that type of stuff as a show judge. It makes my job a whole lot more enjoyable and easy. When we talk about, we'll wait to talk about the pigs, and I'll try to say something as quick and as fast as I can. I ended the last year getting to marry the love of my life, and I started the beginning of the new year thinking to myself, man, now I'm married, I'm 27, time flies. And then I started to think about on the way here, you know what, as somebody that is trying to figure out what this world is all about, what kind of message can I give to these young people to maybe try to impact them in any way? And the thing that I always think about, and my mom told me this there at the wedding when we were doing our dance, I always say, all you got to have is a dream and a desire to make it happen. And that's something that means a whole lot to me. And I think about our country, and I think about how everything operates, and I watch young people now, and I'll be honest, I know I'm not that old, but I'm already starting to say things are a whole lot different now than they used to be. And I'm not sure if I'm old enough to say that yet, but I do think that it's true. And when I think about how kind of things I live by, about having a dream and a desire to make it happen, I want to make sure that I see these young people continue to do the same thing. And I don't know if I always see that. I always tell them, I always tell young people there's a whole lot more to this world than playing on your phone or playing a video game. Go out and find something that you love. Find a dream, and then have the desire to make it happen. And I don't care what it is. Obviously, I'm a big fan of this thing that we're doing here tonight, and to see all y'all out here supporting this show and supporting kids showing livestock. I thank y'all, because I'm a big believer in what we're doing and what it teaches kids as they grow up doing something like this. It teaches them things I don't think they can learn anywhere else. But if showing isn't your thing, that's fine. But go find something else that you love and that you dream and you want to be the best at, and work as hard as you possibly can. I could do it a million times over again. I would do this thing. I would do the same thing. I would show livestock. I would do livestock judging. I wouldn't do anything else. I guess unless I came back faster, stronger, better looking, then I might be a model or a professional athlete and go make money and then come back and do it later. But find that dream, go out and make it happen. And the only person that's going to do that is you. Remember that nobody's going to make your dream happen but yourself. Let's go ahead and fire the pigs back up. We have a lot out here that I think represent quality, and I think represent their breed very, very good. The one that's going to end up being my champion, I don't need to continue to reiterate all those descriptive things that I said. I started off by talking, and I talked so much about power, and I do like power, but ultimately, at the end of the day, the power hog that can still be built right and can still look like a high-quality show pig from the side, that's going to be the best one. I'm not a person that says the best hog is the stoutest. I'm not a person that says the best hog is the best looking or the best built. In all reality, the best one is the one that can combine all those things that people like. So put your hands together. I'll take one more look, and I'll shake the hand of your champion that I think does that the best.
And your champion breeding Gilt belongs to Cody Kelso, Marion FFA. We'll now judge for our reserve champion.
Yeah, but they have to write their thank you down first.
And Braden Forts, Marion FFA, will have your reserve grand. Thank y'all for coming. Be careful going home, and we'll see y'all back here tomorrow. Thanks especially to our judge, Clayton Schramm. You did a great job. We appreciate you coming all this way. Good luck to you in the future.